Hello, my name is Martha Bond. I'm a certified yoga therapist and teacher. Yoga is a Sanskrit word, the ancient language of India where yoga originated. It's often translated as to yoke or bind. Perhaps an easier way to understand this would be to think of it as bringing together of all parts into a whole, integrating all aspects of our human experience. The teachings of yoga have evolved and flourished over thousands of years. Many people today think of yoga only in terms of the physical practice of yoga asana, when in fact, a complete yoga practice includes not only yoga asana, but pranayama, breath control, meditation, and other techniques aimed at bringing balance to the entire being. In recent history, science has proven many of the benefits yoga has to offer. A regular yoga practice will improve strength, stability, range of motion, as well as increase lung capacity and oxygen uptake. Studies have also shown that a regular yoga practice will decrease stress response, anxiety, and promote mental clarity. Having said that, the most effective yoga practices are designed and adapted to meet your individual needs, interest, and stage in life. Since we don't have the benefit of personal evaluation in this setting, it's important that you honor your boundaries. So listen carefully, not only to my words, but to the feedback of your own experience. If something instinctively doesn't feel right or you experience any pain or lightheadedness, stop where you are and evaluate what you're doing. This program will not take the place of being in the presence of a qualified teacher, nor is it meant to replace medical treatment. Yoga is best practiced on an empty stomach or after a light meal and in bare feet. You'll need an open space and a non-skid surface. And you may also find it helpful to have a few props on hand. I'll have a yoga strap, a block, and you can have a towel or a small blanket, and even a chair may come in handy. You could even do many of this practice in a chair or reclined. Learning any new activity takes practice. Consistency is the key to developing a healthier, happier, and whole existence through the practice of yoga. We'll begin today's practice in a standing position, so please come to the very top of your mat with your feet about hip-width apart, and I want you to take time to feel all four corners of the feet evenly planted into the floor. Good, and as you notice that, begin to notice if you're using your ankle muscles and perhaps even muscles in your calves or shins to help support this. Now I want you to bring your awareness up to the hips, or really the pelvic bowl, and try to find balance here. Good, and once you feel that you found that balance the best you can, notice if the hips, if the thighs are helping, maybe the gluteals, and perhaps even the abdominal muscles help to support that. Now that we have this solid foundation, we can erect our spine, rolling our shoulders back over our hips, balancing your head over your heart. Let's reach down now with the baby fingers and the index fingers. So the name of this pose is Tadasana. It means mountain pose. But think of being steady as a mountain, but not hard as a rock. Fix your gaze straight in front of you on something that isn't going to move. Now acknowledge your physical body. Begin to notice any place in your body that may be calling out for health and healing, without passing judgment, good or bad. You can acknowledge your mental state and even your emotional state. Directing your awareness now to your breath, begin inhaling fully and exhaling completely. Do that 2 more times. Now we're going to work on directing the breath. So I want you to watch me. We're going to inhale into the upper chest first, then let the ribs expand and the belly soften and expand. As we exhale, it's actually the belly is going to go first, then the ribs contract and the chest returns to neutral. So watch me this first time. Good, now you try it. Now there's a final element of control that we can add to this. It's called ujjayi breathing. You really use the muscle in the throat that you use to whisper. So think of whispering or fogging up a mirror, but the sound will come through your nose as you continue to breathe. And now we'll begin to explore movement and breath. So each movement that we do will have a breath associated to it, either inhale or exhale, or sometimes both, or we may stay for 2 or 3 breaths. So back to Tadasana, reestablish that center point, that place of least resistance where you feel balanced, and start your inhale. Right after you begin that inhale, let the hands start to float up. You can reach the arms right up over the head, and if you feel balanced today, you can look up to those hands and perhaps even touch the hands together. When the exhale begins, it's as if the exhale is supporting the arms as you bring them back down to your sides. Good. Inhale. The length of the movement lasts as long as the breath, and exhaling. Try to maintain your neutral spine and the smoothness of your breath as you just complete this simple movement. Good. Adding on from there, we're going to add Utkatasana. So when we inhale and raise the arms over the head, we're actually going to bend our knees. Think of sitting back into a chair, and even here be aware of your spinal alignment. Good. Exhaling, we'll let the hands come down to the sides. So here's our inhale, sitting back into our chair, arms come up by our ears, and exhale, press into the heels to come back to standing. Inhale, arms by the ears. If they don't go that far, it's okay. Just do what you can do. It's absolutely fine. Wherever you are is perfect. Good. One more time. Inhaling into that Utkatasana or chair pose, and exhaling, hands down to the side. We're going to continue to add on. So inhale, Utkatasana. Now exhale, really draw the belly in and start to fold forward. Now leave the knees bent because you're going to drape the torso right over the knees or right over the thighs. Hands come down to the ankles or to the calves, wherever you can reach. Wait for an inhale, and when you find that it's time to inhale, we're going to actually flatten out the back, kind of lengthen the sternum away from the hips and slide the hands up to behind the knees. Exhale, draw the belly in, begin to bend the knees, and let yourself just drape back down. Let's try that one again. So we inhale. This one is called half forward fold. So we really think of lengthening the spine here. Exhaling, draw the belly in, bend the knees, let your hands slide down. Good, we'll hold it there. Now while we're here, we're going to continue to breathe, and we can also explore maybe being able to straighten those legs a little bit more. Bent knees will support the low back. So if you're feeling any tension in the low back, make sure you continue to bend the knees. Good, keep breathing 1 or 2 more times. And then on this next inhale, we're going to go ahead and find our way all the way back up. Pull the belly in to support the low back, reach the arms up, touch the palms, and bring the hands down to your sides. Good. Return to that place of balance, to Tadasana. And just take a moment here, a resting breath, to absorb the effects of that simple movement. Our next position is going to be Vrikasana, also called tree pose. So we'll maintain that even standing position that we had in Tadasana. And you can even bring your hands to your heart now. This is called Anjali Mudra, and really what we're doing here is pressing our hands together evenly to find balance in the left and the right side of the body, and then we'll take our thumbs right to our sternum and connect to our heart center. So we have a balanced stance, and we're going to shift all of our center of gravity now over into our right leg. And since this is called tree pose, you could even imagine or visualize roots growing down through your foot into the floor, rooting you into the mat or into the earth. Energize that right leg. It's strong all the way up to the right gluteal, the right hip. Good. Now once you feel really settled there and steady, we can just begin to bend our left knee. Now if you need to take a break and grab a chair or a wall, something close by to steady yourself, that's fine too. Good, so we have our knee bent. When we feel steady with that, we can turn that knee out to about 90 degrees. Good, start to notice and pay attention to that neutral spine that we talked about. So we want to be really tall here. If you're comfortable with this, you feel like, wow, I'm feeling pretty balanced today, we could actually raise that foot up to the shin or even as high as the thigh. I would avoid the knee area. We don't want to hang the foot on the knee, but we could come all the way up to the inner thigh if you're feeling really adventurous today. You want to be sure to press the thigh against the foot and the foot against the thigh or the leg to create that balance. Good. Now gazing straight forward once again. Let's just take one more breath here. You're doing great. If you've stepped out of it, that's fine too. Don't worry. Good. Now step down and come back to Tadasana. Feet even. Reconnect with all four corners of both feet. And you could even close your eyes here and really experience the sensations in your body. One side of your body might feel heavier than the other at this point. Good. We'll go ahead and open the eyes again here. Choose your drishti. It's called that focal point, something that isn't going to move in front of you. Bring your hands to your heart. Shift your center of gravity over into the left leg now, engaging the muscles, feeling it all the way up into that left hip. Feel nice and steady. And then when you're ready, you'll bend your knee. We'll turn the knee out to the side. If that's enough, stop there. If you want to explore the balance of raising the foot, using a wall or a chair. Good. And remember, we can also come all the way up to this level here, pressing the leg against the foot against the leg, just like we're doing the hands. Good. One or two more breaths. And on the exhale, we'll see if we can come back to Tadasana, having both feet even, hands down to the sides, and reestablish that place of least resistance, always coming back to it. And a resting breath there. Good. The next series of poses we'll actually be doing on the floor, so find a way to safely get there. It doesn't have to be pretty, just safe. So come down onto your mat and actually right onto your back. So we're going to be going through a sequence now. It's called pelvic stabilizing sequence. It's really great for the low back to improve mobility and strengthen abdominal area and kind of release any tension in the low back. So there's a few things we're going to go through with this one. Bring your hands down to your sides. Just relax them down to your sides. Now we actually want to think about that neutral spine again, just as we did in the standing posture. So try to line the shoulders over the hips and notice if you have any arching in the back or if you're rounded. You know, we want to still kind of maintain that neutral place. As we inhale, even lying down, we're going to notice a gentle lengthening of the spine. And as you exhale now, here's where the movement happens. We pull our belly button down to our spine and let our hips kind of tilt up, the pelvis tilt up. On the inhale, we go right back to neutral, not beyond. And on the exhale, we pull the belly button in and lift the tailbone. Good. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, pull the belly in and lift. Inhale. And exhale. Try to go right back to that neutral place. Good. Perhaps just one or two more of these. If they're feeling really good, then stay with it. It's usually safe to do these every day. All right, so find your way back to neutral. Now, we want to make sure here that our heels are aligned pretty well under our knees and in line with the sit bones. Good. So from here now, we're going to do something called the march. So basically, this is what it looks like. We're going to really stabilize, actually brace the core. So if you could think of yourself as just cinching those ribs in a little bit and really activating your stomach muscles, pressing the low back into the floor. And then we're going to raise the right foot off the floor about an inch and then release it. And then raise the left foot about an inch and release it. So the idea here is that there would not be any rocking at all in the hips, so we've got to keep this braced. So we're going to try about 4 of those on each side, and we're going to actually do them with breath. So try to inhale as you raise the right foot, and exhale as you lower it. Inhale, left foot, and lower. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, take a full breath, even if you need to slow down, and exhale. Let's do that once more on each side. Good. Now this time when you exhale, just relax. You really begin to notice how that activates and how many of those core muscles you're really using when you do that. So just work on it. It may take a little practice, but in time you'll be able to do that just fine. So again, you can reevaluate your alignment here. We always want to have that neutral spine. The next one we're going to do is called a drawbridge. So the reason we call it that is because we want to think of, when we lift, we want to think of doing this in one plane, you know, in a straight line, like a drawbridge. So I'll show you this one too before we get started. Heels, feet planted firmly into the mat. Now I want you to press your heels down into the mat for this one, and that'll activate the back of the legs and the gluteals. Now from here we're going to actually inhale and start to lift the pelvis up towards the sky, and on the exhale we're going to lower. So it's that torso, that part of the body that we're trying to keep straight. We're inhaling, drawbridge. Now if you bow your chin just a little bit towards your chest, that'll take the pressure off the back of the neck, and lower. Good. Inhale, kind of give those glutes a little bit of a squeeze, press your heels into the floor a little bit, and lower. And raise up. And lower slowly. Remember, this is all moving with our breath, so you just might need to slow down just a little bit. Let's do 2 more. And this will be the last one. Press the heels down, lift a little higher, and drawbridge closes right back down. Good. You can release any pressure there. Maybe inhale, take the right hand into, or the right knee into the hand, and then the left knee. Exhale, give yourself a little hug, maybe a little rock side to side to release any pressure that may have gathered there. Good. Go ahead and bring both feet back onto the floor. All right, so our next segment is going to be focusing on iliopsoas muscles. So they're really important as well for good back health. So again, we're going to check in, alignment, do we feel aligned, neutral spine, and we can start by just bringing this right knee up off the floor, the right foot off the floor, and hold the knee in the right hand and just draw it in. Just give yourself a nice little hug there and just kind of notice how that feels. Good. And remember, we're still breathing deeply, that complete breath, inhaling fully, exhaling completely. Now taking this right leg, we're going to actually extend it and have it in line with your knee. See how my knees are lined up? So that's going to be our inhale. Nice inhale there, keeping the torso neutral, the spine neutral. Exhale and raise that leg up. Now it doesn't have to be straight, but just raise it up, extend it as far as you can. Take it back down with an inhale, and then exhale, that knee comes back into your chest or into your belly. So inhale, extend the leg. Now the arms can come out. Exhale, raise the leg up. Inhale, lower, so the knees are aligned. And then exhaling, giving yourself a hug. Good. Once again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Slow down a little bit maybe. And then exhale, bring it into your chest. Relax the back of the neck. Bring that right foot onto the floor. Good. Reassessing, just always going back to neutral, and we'll do the same thing on the left side. So now we know what to do. We're going to start by just picking up that left knee. Give yourself a hug. Might feel pretty good. Just give yourself a nice little hug there. Notice how that feels, if you feel any gripping. Good. Just nice to be aware. All right, so now this left leg is going to extend, and we're going to try to hold it up in line with the right knee. When we exhale, we're going to raise the leg up. When we inhale, we're going to lower it. You know, we're still really controlling our abdominals here. And then exhale is when we get to release and give ourselves that hug. This time, let's try it with the arms out. So inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, exhale. Good, keep going. One more, one more. Good, nice job. Now let's go ahead and take that right knee into the chest as well. And give yourself a little hug and maybe rock side to side. Good, place both feet back onto the floor. We're going to take our right arm up over our head and just roll over right onto that right arm. Use your left hand to come up safely. And we're actually going to transition now onto our hands and knees. Good, so we'll want to line up our wrist under our shoulders and our knees right under our hips. And we're also going to try to find that neutral spine here. So just kind of notice if you feel any little sagging in the belly, we're going to draw the belly muscles in a little bit to support that. And we even feel ourselves getting a little longer here with the inhale. Remember, we're inhaling into our upper chest and the ribs and the belly, and exhaling belly, ribs, chest, even here. Good, so now that we have a sense of that, we've kind of reconnected with our center, with our, with that neutral place. All poses come from a neutral place. Let's bring our forearms down to the floor. So have your fingers spread wide, and your hands are about as wide as your shoulders. And your elbows are just under the shoulders as well. So take a nice long breath in here, and we can still try to lengthen our spine. And on the exhale, we're going to lean back. Just lean back without pulling the hands back. Good. Inhale. Now this time, see if you can dip your chin a little bit closer to the floor. And exhale. Go ahead and release back. Inhaling forward. We're going to see if we can dip down just a little and keep our neutral spine. And then exhale back. Good. Inhale. Now stay with this, or if you're ready to move on, we can actually tuck our toes and lift up our hips on the exhale. So inhaling, coming forward, and then exhale, maybe lifting up the knees. Don't do this if it's not comfortable. You can try, but always go back to the other level. Inhale, coming forward, and then exhale. So if you want to add just one more little piece to this, we could actually come forward and back. I know this is a bit advanced, but just in case, have something for everybody here. And back and knees down. And now we're all going to release back into what we call child pose. So the big toes will be touching. The knees are a little bit wider, just wide enough, about shoulder width, so that when we lay our body down, we can kind of nestle our ribs in between our thighs. Maybe start with the hands reaching out in front. Good. Now if it feels very compressed here, or if you're feeling not comfortable at all, this is a great place to add a block, or again, whatever you have around the house that might work for this. You could rest your forehead right on this block. And then bring your hands down to your sides. Fingers up, gently curled. Shoulders just rolling off the ends of your knees. And this is just a place of restoration, of rest. You can come to this pose anytime during class when you might be feeling a little overwhelmed or not able to stay with the breath. So come back up onto hands and knees now. Good. This is another really great move that is good for core strength, for belly, for back. So this one is called balancing cat. We'll have wrist again under shoulders, knees under hips. Now just really get a sense of that. Remember that bracing that we did when we did that pose on our back? We braced our core. We're going to do that here as well. And I want you to step just your right foot back and tuck the toes of the right foot into the mat. And even lean back on it. Lean back on that. It's a really nice little stretch to start off with. Feel the activation of your stomach muscles, the sides here, the obliques, transverse abdominis, feel that activated. And now I want you to focus on the right gluteal, that's right here, this right bun. Hold that area and lift that right foot off the floor, just as high as your hip. Good, so this may be enough. You might think, wow, that's really great, that's enough. But if you want to try to go a little deeper into this, we'll extend our left arm. So now we have opposite arm and leg, and it's like you're being pulled in two directions. Breathe, bring the hand or the leg down at any time. Good, go ahead and let's all do that. We're going to relax, and we're actually going to stretch back into that child pose. You're welcome. Get a nice little release there. Good, let's go back up onto hands and knees. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips, and tuck the left toes into the mat this time. Just lean back into it. You feel that nice little release. Good, engaging the left leg, engaging the left gluteal muscles, and use that energy to lift that foot up. Lengthen the spine. And then if you feel like it, if you're ready for it, we're going to reach out with that right hand. Long through the arm and leg, long through the torso. Strong, steady breath. And now here we go. It's child pose. Yay! Everybody likes that one. So go ahead and release back. Just give it a nice little stretch at whatever feels good to you to release any tension that may have gathered. All right, so again on each side, come back to hands and knees. Right foot back into the mat this time. Tuck the toes, kind of give yourself that release, and then engage the glutes, lift the right leg, strong, steady core, and reach out with that left hand. And exhale, we'll release. Just relax back into child pose. You can keep the arms extended to use a lift under the forehead, or go into the complete posture with the hands down to the sides. Returning to hands and knees. Now you know where your alignment is. Just come back to it. Tuck the left toe this time, left toes. Releasing, that just feels good. Nice, sort of gripping the left gluteals, using that action to raise the leg. Now, as I said, you can stay here, right? We don't have to go any further. Or maybe the hip is too much and it's just the arm you're going to practice. That's okay too. So reach out with the arm. Reach, reach, reach long through that left arm, left leg, right arm. And now hands down, and one more time into Balasana, it's called, or child pose, Balasana. So you can even rock side to side, round yourself out. It's okay to move around a little bit here, just see what works and feels good for you. And hopefully you'll be able to settle yourself into something where that you can just take maybe 2 or 3 breaths with complete release. Now notice in this posture, we're folded over, it becomes a little more challenging to breathe. So focus your breath now into your back, expanding your ribs, feeling the intercostal muscles expand and accommodate those filling lungs. Bring the hands out in front of you, and now up onto your hands and knees one more time. Let's actually go onto the belly here, if that's all right. So if you're not comfortable laying on your stomach, you can actually repeat that balancing cat that we just did. We're going to move on and do something a little different. But if you know or instinctively feel like, well, maybe the belly's not such a great place for me, then we'll just go back to this one. That'll be fine. You'll get the same benefit out of this. So we'll come on down to our bellies. And we're going to start with our forearms in front of us. Elbows, again, about shoulder width. You can measure that by reaching your hands to each elbow and measuring that. And then pivoting the hands out, planting them right into the mat. So the elbows will be under the shoulders. We're going to tuck our toes right from here and I want you to really engage the glutes. We're actually going to feel like we're lengthening our tailbone down towards our feet, and when we do that, we're going to lift our knees off the floor and our body off the floor and just kind of go for maybe a flat plank. On the exhale, just the knees come down and we get to relax a little bit. So there's your relaxed state. Inhale, we're going to kind of lift up and stretch out. And exhaling, bringing the knees back down. Now, if that just seems just out of the field of possibility today, maybe just one leg, reach it up and come down, and we'll trade sides. So we'll do that a couple times on each side before we try the full posture again. Honestly, it's one of my favorites, a great core strengthener. Good. Raise up the right leg, feel the abdominals working. Okay, so here's the full one again. We're just going to give it a try. If the knees don't want to come off the floor, they don't have to. It's okay. Brace the core. Take a breath. All right, good job. Knees come down. Walk yourself back into that child pose. And just give yourself the opportunity, permission to just let everything go. Just melt. All right, so we'll return to hands and knees. And actually, we're going to come up onto standing on our knees, if you will. So let's stand on our knees. So I have my little towel here. And if your knees are sensitive, you might want to have a little extra padding for this next posture. What we're going to do is, from this, we're going to find neutral first, right? You probably were there before me. So find neutral before we do anything else. Good. Okay, now the left leg is going to come forward basically in, excuse me, into a lunge. So if you need to reach to the side here, give yourself a little balance, just take all the time you need and bring that left foot in front. And our feet and our legs are still going to be about hip width. If you could imagine yourself just taking a natural stride, that's about how wide the feet are from one another. So the left foot planted firmly into the mat. We're going to really focus on this left knee. We want it to be right over the ankle. Okay? So you're actually going to pull back on that heel a little bit, and you'll feel that stability in your left leg. Now the back leg, equally as important. That knee right there, that's the one that you just might want to slide a little padding under if you need it. But to support this stretch we're feeling, we're going to tighten up and engage the gluteals, these muscles here. And then maybe lean forward a little bit more. Now when you lean forward, make sure that knee doesn't go in front of the ankle. If it does, you just wiggle the toes out a little more. All right, so let's kind of release the tension and any pressure on this one, and we're going to move in and out of it a couple of times now that we know the basics. So we'll have our right arm down to our side. Left hand is going to be right here on that thigh, on that left thigh. Inhaling, just reach that right arm up and start to lean into it. Be mindful of your knees, pulling back on the left heel and engaging the right glutes. If this is a slight back bend, if it feels tense in the low back, kind of tighten those belly muscles a little bit longer here. Feel length rather than any compression, and turn your gaze towards the sky. We're not dropping our head back, we're lifting our chin towards the sky. All right, so easing out of this one, inhaling, exhaling. We can come down, come out of this safely, and now go back to standing on the knees. Notice neutral. Notice how it feels a little different, one side to the other. All right, so the right leg forward this time. Not as much talk this time. We know what we're doing. Drawing the right heel back, activating the right knee right over the ankle, activating the left glute to support this stretch. Neutral spine, but then we're actually going to lengthen, extend the spine even further. Look up. And releasing. Good. Very nice. All right, so the next portion of our class here today, we're going to end each one of these classes with a little period of relaxation. We always do this in a yoga practice. You might spend 10 or 20 minutes in a different practice in this pose. We'll probably just take 2 or 3 minutes today just so you can get a sense of it and get the feeling for how to completely relax and release the body. So when we practice yoga, we open up these energy channels in the body, we generate prana or chi, life force, and by completely relaxing, we're just going to allow that energy to move freely. It can be very healing, very rejuvenating, and just is really a lovely way to kind of finish this asana practice. So you'll come down onto your back. Now, of course, if this isn't going to be comfortable or good for you, you could do it in a recliner, seated in a chair, really wherever you're comfortable. So we come onto our backs. And it's called Shavasana, which translates to corpse pose. Not a very nice thought, but that's the idea, is we're going to be lying perfectly still. Again, this is a nice place to have this little towel, maybe handy. Come down right onto your back. You could put something under the knees for added support, or even under the head. Good, so from here the feet will be a little wider than hip width, and just let the feet kind of roll out. Arms down to your sides so that hands are a little wider than your shoulders with your palms up and your fingers gently curled. Now here's where we could actually cover the eyes as well. So you could take your little towel, or if you had one of those fancy little scented eye pillows, that's fine too, and just place it right over the eyes. Now take a moment here and just give yourself permission to let go completely. And we'll go through and mentally scan the body, noticing any tension that we might be holding on to behind the eyes, relaxing the face, softening the jaw, softening the sides of the tongue, relaxing your throat, your neck, your shoulders. And take a deep breath into your heart center, expanding the heart, expanding the space around your heart, and then exhale, letting go of any tension. Next inhale, directed into the navel center, expanding the belly, and then releasing the belly and any tension that you may be holding there. Relaxing the hips, the tailbone, and you'll notice your arms and legs begin to feel heavy. Relaxing all the way out to the fingers and toes. Allow your mind to relax. Just allow yourself to sort of drift in stillness for the next few breaths, really soft breaths. Now to bring ourselves back around, we just start to wiggle the toes easily, gently, maybe circle the wrist and ankles. You can bring one foot at a time onto the mat. And then perhaps, one knee at a time into the chest if that feels okay for you. Rocking side to side. We'll take the right arm over the head and roll over onto the right side again. You could just let that pillow or